Hello folks, welcome to Lexi IAS. So today we'll be discussing about a current affair topic by the name Hand in Hand Initiative. Okay, before we delve into the topic, before we see what it is, see there's a small tip for you. Sometimes you tend to get questions in your prelims where you have no idea about, okay, or you feel like you would have not revised it or not studied it, okay, but at least try to deduce what it is, okay, at least try to deduce what it is from the name. All right, let's just see what. Okay, today's topic, I told it's something about hand in hand initiative. Yes, something about a hand in hand, literal meaning. So what happens when a hand in hand comes together? It has something to do with cooperation, like how we cooperate with you guys to make sure we achieve a good amount of change in the society. Okay, drifting back apart. Anyway, so hand in hand initiative is something to do, okay, with the cooperation. All right, usually whenever it is with respect to any global media, okay, or global level, be it with respect to your private players or with respect to governments, it will be something for the betterment of society only. See, at the end of the day, if there is some legacy, yeah, if there is some legacy that you would want to leave, okay, when you leave the earth, see, it's a pretty much existential thing. We come with nothing, we leave with nothing. But if there is something that we leave, if there is some legacy that we leave behind, we just leave the world a little bit better than what we found it in. Yes, now if you look at all the international communities, okay, your international organizations, okay, your civil players, NGOs, everyone are trying to do that small thing itself. What is it? Try to leave the world in a little bit of better place than you found it. Okay, it should not be completely about you use the resources to your greed. Understanding? You just use it sustainably enough to leave it for another person also. See, here is where you can quote Gandhi. There is enough on the planet for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. Understanding? So, with this, we'll begin our topic. All right? Yeah. Your hand in hand initiative is, okay, brought together by a food and agricultural organization. This started since your 2019. Okay, this has been started. Now this is the third time. Okay, this is the third time they've again come reconvened. Okay, what does it again? I told you hand in hand means what? It's a cooperation. Okay, previously we saw for what? It's for the betterment of society. What or which target, okay, society pe which is exactly targeted is regions which are hit by poverty and hunger, okay, in a very severe manner, and where the nations do not have the resources to deal with it. Okay, here the keyword is the regions. They are not telling Asian countries, they are not telling African countries, they are not telling Pacific countries, they are not telling only Caribbean countries. No, all of them, inclusive of all of them. We have around 60 to 70 odd member countries. What they are doing is they are focusing regions. Okay, they are focusing countries in these regions which are not able to address effectively the poverty and hunger issues. Okay, the countries, the nations which do not have adequate resources. Okay, now this poverty and hunger could either be natural or man-made. Okay, both those are covered under this hand-in-hand initiative. This is very, very important. Okay, it covers both natural as well as man-made. See, for example, natural, I can understand, okay, they're being born into a low income group family, and then the same thing with respect to the country. Man made challenges, for example, when it comes to your wars, conflicts. Now, see, with respect to, we've been seeing this confrontations or wars or conflicts, however, the Western medias want to portray it. All these places pay humanitarian crisis is on a very large level. Yes, be it your hospitals, civilians, okay, all these places when it gets struck, okay, people end up in poverty and hunger, okay, and most affected by this are the vulnerable sections in the society. Okay, so this initiative deals with both those things. That is a very, very important feature about this initiative. Okay, because it is addressing both the challenges. Okay, so what does it do? It addresses the twin challenges. Understanding? Right. Is a hand in hand initiative, meaning something to do with cooperation. Okay, that's very important. Now, what are its aims? Okay, first thing, as we saw, poverty. Okay, and the two, poverty is not just, again, poverty itself is a very, okay, huge thing, but in that we have varying levels and degrees of poverty. First thing is we have varying levels and degrees of poverty. See, even in India for that matter, for example, we have low income group families. We have something called as BPL families. What is it? Below poverty line. But we still have something called as poorest of poor or your Antyodaya families. What do you mean by this? Okay, varying levels and degrees of poverty. Understanding? Now, the aims of your hand in hand initiative is eradicate poverty and hunger, malnutrition, and also reduce inequalities. At the same point of time, you do all this. How? Okay, how are they going to address these issues? That is poverty, hunger, malnutrition, reduce your income inequality or your gap in the society, that is income gap, as well as wellness gap. Okay, or otherwise, if we have to say something with respect to wellness gap in India, we say right to life, fine, but right to life, what kind of life? Dignified life. Okay, you provide basic animalistic existence and think them to perform the level of a research organization, it is not going to be possible. Yes, a right to life is not sufficient alone. Okay, that will just ensure animalistic existence, but you also have to make sure right to a dignified life. So that means your wellness. Okay, reduce that wellness gap, reduce the fact that you are telling no, they're not poor, they're getting 1 square meal a day, they're no longer dying out of hunger. That doesn't make it, okay, or doesn't fit them in the right to life category. A human being has to be treated like a human being. If you only treat it like a being, then the result is going to be only an animalistic existence. Yes, so they are trying to do both, right? And how are they trying to address this issue? It is through transformation of agricultural systems. Okay, meaning introduce the concept of, okay, fisheries, dairy, animal husbandry, etc., in any modes that will aid and add, okay, to the income. Okay, reduce the dependence, okay, on relying on excessive facts such as only outside sources have to come help. No, they are trying to make the countries self-sufficient. Okay, how? Again through transforming your agricultural systems. Understanding? Any doubts? For the member countries, again they belong to particular regions of Asia Pacific countries, African countries, Latin American countries, Caribbean countries. So basically where we find highest range of your LIG group, okay, which means the LIG group in these countries are on a higher levels compared to your developed countries, or let's say your G7 countries. Understanding? Now, what is their approach? What is the approach of your hand-in-hand initiative? First thing, focus on poverty, hunger. Okay, again, like we discussed, on countries whose natural capacities to deal and address these issues are very limited. Okay, how are they going to do it? Raise the income levels, nutrition, empower the poor, and one more main thing is, this is very very important, strengthen resilience to climate change. The reason they're telling this is, see, one thing about your climate changes, okay, more of your African countries, okay, now whatever the list we discussed here, these countries are more prone to challenges of climate change, okay, and this is a direct implication, okay, a direct implication to your poverty and hunger due to no mistake of theirs. Okay, they are not to be like, again we're telling, natural man-made challenges etc, and out of no mistake of theirs, the people of these countries are suffering, okay, because of the challenges of climate change. They are not the ones who went through all sort of glorified industrial revolution, capitalism, all this. They have been the victims, they have been the sufferers of all these things, okay, and they are also the ones who are subjected to extreme hard and varying degrees of poverty and hunger. So the hand in hand initiative also has to address this challenge, okay, the challenge of 21st century is what we call this. Okay, if at all an initiative is going to be a wholesome, okay, and provide all in all solution to an issue, then it has to address the challenge of 21st century. Okay, each and every time we cross centuries, we are carrying a huge baggage alongside additional difficulties with it. Okay, so if we have to address the root cause of the issue, okay, if we have to address the root cause of the issue, then we also have to make sure every bit of it is to be addressed. All right. Yes. So we've seen the approach. Okay. First one is, how are they going to do? Okay. On a ideological level. Let's see how are they going to do on a territorial level. Okay. That is, how are they going to, now they pick nations. Okay, now they found these nations, but this particular regions are most affected by your poverty, malnutrition, hunger, etc. How are we going to address it, and at the same point of time make sure that they are self-sufficient? Okay, keyword self-sufficient. How? Transform the agriculture, okay, alongside sustainable management of forests and fisheries, dairies, okay, if it is coming into that line. All right, so these things add to the, okay, income, and also in reducing, again I wouldn't tell this is one only way to reduce the income gap or your wellness gap, but this is a start. Understanding? Like I said, the challenge of 21st century is in ensuring sustainable development. The 2030 agenda, very, very important. Okay. I can't stress how important it is for your environment. Okay. Your essay questions when you're dealing from your environmental perspective of it. Yeah. Simultaneously support all the three pillars of sustainable development. What is it? Economic, social, and environmental. Okay, if any issue that we are going to address in the 21st century and it has to be a holistic one, then we have to make sure that, okay, All the three pillars of sustainable development are met, that is your economic, social, and as well as your environmental causes. All right. With respect to the investment planning approach, see, when you're going to call, okay, again, what did I tell? This is a hand in hand initiative. Yes, which means all hands on deck approach. We are in a scenario where we need all of them to participate. Now you decide you're going to call the investors, etc., into this forum and tell them, dude, this is for the betterment of people. You have to at least do something for them, whether you get benefit or not. Is not a very smart approach, is it? Why would people? Okay, some people might be moved by the plight of people. They might want to do it, but not everyone is going to do it. People are going to do it in if and in. Okay, they are going to find the benefit. Okay, if they don't have any benefit, then they're not going to do anything. See, one thing, investment into your okay, investment into your human growth has huge potential. On the same lines, for example, your UPSC mains, this was an essay question. Hand that rocks the cradle rocks the future. Meaning, I'll quote one more quote by your Malala Yousafzai, where she says, "We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back." What do you think all these are referencing to? Women empowerment? Yes. So we have been told, okay, again, we have huge data, we can prove it to tell, if you empower women, okay, our GDP has the potential to grow to a very large extent. We are saying 2047 India is going to become, okay, into a new fostering light of new India. Okay, new India cannot still have old age problems, or cannot address, or cannot think to approach or enter the new India era without even addressing, okay, the issues of your women empowerment. Okay, issues with respect to not giving a parity on multiple levels. Now we're not just telling economic, okay, on multiple levels. So when you have to move ahead, all right, you have to make sure, right, it is an equitable distribution. Again, we are not telling equitable distribution means everyone in the society equally will start distributing. No, that is not the kind of socialism we are in. We are a mixed economy, which means the private players will play a part as long as they are also finding benefit. Now, how are you going to tell them that you coming and investing in these countries, sending poverty, malnutrition, and hunger is going to be beneficial for you? Now, that is where this particular scheme has its benefits. Okay, where we are bringing the national, local governments, experts, value chain participants, etc. One more thing, okay, when you are approaching all these bodies is you have a huge potential to growth. Okay, compared to what you're spending for removing poverty, malnutrition, or ending poverty, malnutrition, and hunger, you're spending twice more by not addressing it. Understanding? It's a simple model. See, if you do not address these issues, you spend two times more than what you would address than what you would spend if you address the issue. Understanding? So you think from a money making perspective itself, okay, in layman terms, you would spend either $1,000 or $2,000. Okay, and alongside with that, you're getting additional benefits also. Means which will you like? Yes, addressing the situation is better. How are they trying to partner these people and rope them all together? One is by bringing national, local authorities, donors, okay, financial institutions, civil society, private entrepreneurs, okay, and foremost thing about this scheme is it has the research institutions. Okay, one of the things about any policy implementation, policy making, etc., is when you constantly have feedback, redressal mechanism, okay, loop back, make changes, then again make sure these things are continuing in the form of a loop, which means you have to constantly be updated as to whether this is working, whether this is not working, what more should we do, how is it, okay, how is the outcome of this has to be on a very fast paced process rather than once in one time the scheme has opened up. Understanding? First and main thing is agricultural strategies, investment plans. That is one way they're thinking to go about it. Alright? One other thing is about your program governance. First and main thing is national ownership in the programs. They encourage, okay, they encourage national ownership of the programs. And also they're trying to integrate your technical officers in the governments and also integrate it to the global standards, okay. So they're trying to bring in your technical research and development, okay, into the governance, okay. We did have an investment forum, okay, that is you have to attract, remember all these things that we spoke, why would they want to invest in, etc. So investment forum was conducted for a 2024 session, okay, wherein the initiatives, one of the most lucrative thing about your hand in hand initiative main objective is for long term financing. They're looking for, what exactly is they looking through this investment forums is for long term financing, okay, because see we also tell no investment in capital, okay, capital asset creation will give, okay, immediately it may not give effort, give us back the returns, but eventually it will gain and give very good returns on multiple levels. This is one such thing. Understanding? Now, what is the role of multilateral development banks that we expect that they should pay, and what do they get in return for participating in this? Okay, first thing is why we want to rope in multilateral development banks is because, okay, see, this is a simple answer. Why are we roping in for this? They have a finance structure and risk mitigating mechanism. This is the keyword. Okay, they have a finance structure which is so integrated, okay, and also they have inbuilt mechanisms which can operate in risk scenarios, okay, and they can support the private investors in the poorest of areas and enhance their roles in participating country. In return, they are trying to make the country same self sufficient in financing, okay. They are providing the first hand, they're providing the first step so that they are competent enough to now do that for themselves. Understanding? Now, what is there for your investors? Directly engage with countries on investment opportunities. They don't need to go through middlemen. Secured, okay, because this hand in hand is a multilateral initiative, okay, it is a very secure thing when government is involved. Yes, rather than being a very volatile scenario, this is more secured. So your investors, we are trying to bring in your lucratively provide advantages to your investors through this. Because we've been discussing about your FAO, just about the organization we'll see. Your FAO is one of the specialized organs of the United Nations, set up during the Second World War period of time, and it mainly deals with areas of your poverty, hunger, etc. And also it tries to, okay, make sure provide a holistic, scientific and updated modern approach in techniques to deal with them, okay. Now the thing is, they have 194 member countries, which means it is pretty much, we can fairly tell, okay, it is a universal, okay, and also India is a member country to this organization. We have been one of the members since the very beginning. Understanding? Now we have come to the end of the topic. Hope you enjoyed and understood. Okay, if you do like our content, subscribe to our channel, share it along with your friends, and hit that like button there. Thank you.